Here we are at your first bass lesson. Stuff we talked about initially. Let me just talk about my right hand, and then we're going to de-emphasize it for today. Just in your picking, try not to use the same finger over and over again. Just be sure you use your second finger at all. What we did was, and it looks like there's some actual issue with your bass where the pickup is tilted. It's not affecting the sound, but you might want to take that to an instrument store. Like, this one's straight, but this one's at an angle. That's not normal. But either way, we're going to rest our thumb on that pickup just to have some sort of landmark. And then our fingers are straight. What's intuitive is to have them curled like that, and that's how we play guitar. But bass, when I hit the third string, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, which, while we're on the subject, the first thing we're doing memorization-wise is E, A, D, G. Just, not intellectualizing the concept. This one's called D, this one's called A. And again, being sure to think of it like a geography test where you can think of any of them in a random order, which, it's just memorizing 4 things. Same thing as walking into a room, meeting 4 people, remembering their names. We decided to learn some other note names too, which was like the 3rd fret we had G and C, the 5th fret we had A and D. And I made a point to go dosage 1 right there, because that's pretty quickly masterable 4 notes. And key step again is where you randomize the order. If you just went G and C, A and D, then you'd only be allowed to think about D if you'd just gone G and C, A. So, if you need to, you can make 4 flashcards that say G, C, A, D, or you can just randomly quiz yourself on them. So anything but exactly in order. Cool. So there's dosage 1 of info. And also, if you want to, you can just get used to doing that, just kind of mess around or whatever. But right now, we're just talking about note names before we even start playing. And then I wrote a little 2, and I wrote that at the 7th fret, and we have dots at the 3rd fret, 5th fret, and 7th fret. So if you know where the 5th fret is, which is where our whole thing we're doing today is centered, playing-wise, then you can think about 5, 7, 5, 3, or something like that. So, but that said, memorizing what fret is where is not really much of a task. You just got to decide, okay, 5th fret, 5th fret, 5th fret, this is the city of 5th fret. So then we added the 7th fret where we've got B and E. So, my suggestion is learn G and C, A and D, and then add B and E after you're already good at that. That's the whole concept of how we're going to memorize things, is work in little sections and finish as we go. And it would be more difficult to do all 6 of them at once. That said, we're more looking at that just to kind of get into the process of how we're going to work on things. Cool. So right hand wise, we're not going to be emphasizing that too much, except for I want your fingers to be straight as opposed to curled, and not just using your first finger over and over again. Ideally, you'd alternate them, but we're going to mostly focus on your left hand right now. Cool. So the first thing we learned how to play is a scale, the A blues scale. Something I had you do a bunch during the lesson was just put 4 fingers ready to do stuff on the bass string, the 4th string, and we're doing that at the 5th fret, the 3rd, 5th fret. So, and again, our thumb position is that, not this, not this, not this, not this, but this. And we trick ourselves into getting into that classical thumb position by going 4 fingers ready to do stuff. This is the type of stuff where you're psyched you started taking lessons right from Jump Street. Cool. So we're going index followed by pinky on the bass string. Then we're going, and like we talked about during the lesson, that's not seesaw. I'm pushing down 1 finger, now I'm pushing down 2 fingers. Because if you went right back to that. Then on the next string, we're going 5, 6, 7. So, let's make that dosage 1 in your practice without worrying about rhythm. We don't want to turn scales into songs. It's just a list of stuff you're doing. And this is the part where you have enough conscious focus to think about what your hands are doing. And then the rest is easy. The next 2 strings are just index followed by ring, index followed by ring, which is 5th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. So that makes that whole thing. So now stop and just work on that in your practice. Cool. And what we want, the order you're working on it in, is disregarding rhythm to get good at going up that scale until that actually becomes easy, and then start coming back down it when you get to here. coming back down, and that's where we really see why we didn't do this coming into play, is that this finger is already chilling there, ready for us, so it's like our whole hand is moving. So yeah, before we worry about rhythm or anything, you're just going up and down a scale pattern here. So there's the A blues scale, and we're starting on A here. If you wanted to play the G blues scale, just speaking to how bass and string instruments work, this is the note G. You just play the exact same movement, starting right here instead. So, if that would seem like, what did I just say? The good news, all I'm saying is you can just move that fingering around and it'll work anywhere. So we happen to know this is called A, and this is called G. So if I was like, I'm going to play the G blues scale, I'd still just be thinking about that exact same hand movement that I did, and it would work. But in our whole thing, we're going to be more 5th fretty today. Great, so just get really good up to there, and at about 6 minutes in your video, we're doing the first song I wrote down, which is just kind of designed to be interesting and easy. We're going, excuse me. Like that. So we're gonna have one spot where we skip a string on purpose. So it's just like that. And at first just kind of disregard rhythm entirely. And here we're picking every note. Excuse me. And there's the part 1, and then so there we go. Kick-ass. So just stop, get good at that. Again, the first stage is you're just going over the dance steps, not worrying about rhythm, and kind of breaking it into 2 sections where I drew a line, and then kind of playing rhythm. So yeah, just as long as it takes for you to get used to doing it. And again, our key concepts are not bunching your hand up and not seesawing. Cool. Then the next thing we did at about 7 minutes in your video, which I'll just write here. 7-11, I did Born Under a Bad Sign, which is a blues. That's when a lot of things sounds like this. So there we're doing hammer-ons, which is, we're all, at this point, you're already really good at doing stuff like this before you even attempt what I'm doing right now. So yeah, it turned out there's this thing called the hammer-on, where instead of picking the string both times, I just pick it once and then decisively put my finger down there. And this is what's cool about playing stringed instruments, is that we can do things like hammer-ons and pull-offs, and versus just I hit this one, I hit that one. So Born Under a Bad Sign, we're gonna go. That was on the 3rd string, 4th string. So there's the first part. Second part. And I actually screwed that up. In fact, I'm gonna correct, no, it's fine, what we just did is cool. So there it is. So cool. Also, just mess around with, I'm gonna go, just trying to use your fingers to do things at various frets and noodle around and have fun with it. But this is our text, and we're really just trying to get used to playing and interacting with the instrument at all. And next time, think about some songs you might like to learn. And then that brings up the question, but I don't know what's easy enough. If you bring in a whole album you like, we'll be able to find something or a section of something. Or if you make a playlist, we'll be able to find something or a section of something. So there it is. That's what you're going to be practicing too. You did really well today.